Hello, everybody, and welcome to SNIA's 2023 preview. So I'm Michael Milady, the Business Operations Director here at SNIA. And by way of introduction, I'd like to introduce Jay Metz. Jay is the chairman of the board for SNIA, and he's going to walk you through our welcome presentation, some opening slides. That'll be followed by some presentations from SNIA's technical work groups. The technical worker presentations will run until 1 o'clock, followed by presentations from some of our committees, forums, and initiatives. We'll have an update from our technical council and present our membership awards for 2023. So with that, I'd like to turn the floor over to Jay Metz for a welcome.
Thanks, Michael. It also helps if I get myself off mute. How many times have we heard that in our conference room lifetimes? So thank you very much. I wanted to thank you all for joining us on our annual SNIA preview for storage people and people who want to become storage people. And we can go ahead and start with the next slide, if you don't mind. A little bit of administrivia. Yes, my name is Jay Metz. I am the chair of the board of directors. And today is one of those days that I really enjoy, because this is effectively where we get to take the peacock feathers and put them out in full plume to show off the stuff that we're working on. Obviously, what we're looking to do is try to encourage and entice people to join us. That's obviously one of the things that we're hoping to be able to do. But we also want to be able to inspire not only yourselves, but also the industry into realizing, all the kinds of things that are happening that are quite interesting that we're doing. And at not last, but and certainly not least, give recognition to the people who have been working many dozens, if not hundreds of hours to provide, technological innovation and in a wide diversity of topics. So a little bit of administrivia, as I said, a little bit of advice and guidance. If you wouldn't mind, along with your name, could you also put your company in parentheses so that we have an idea of who you represent? And even if it's yourself, you could put self. That's perfectly fine. Just gives us a little bit of an understanding as to the breadth and scope of the people who are participating in the preview. Everybody is going to start off on mute. You are more than welcome to unmute yourself if you'd like to say something. We do ask that because of the fact that there are simply a lot of people on the call, remaining on mute and avoiding some of the background noise is going to be preferable when you're not speaking. So the chat, excuse me, the chat is going to be relatively active, I would imagine. Oftentimes in conversations like these, the chat tends to allow people to have a voice that they may not necessarily want to share literally. So please feel free to communicate amongst the chat if you so choose. If you would like to be recognized or if you want to need help, by all means, raise your hand and using the raised hand function of the participants. And that way, the SNIA staff can give you assistance if you need it. Of course, as you probably have already noticed, that the session is being recorded and it is going to be made available for on-demand viewing, as well as the PDFs of the documents are going to be available for anybody who is registered and RSVP'd for the session. So, next slide, please. So I am just going to be giving you the general overall welcome speech, but the star and MC of our ceremony today will be Michael Milady, whom you've already met. Michael is going to be, our master of ceremonies for a number of the different technical work group updates that are going on. And as I said, we're doing a lot of material that is new, and there's a broad scope of material that we're going to be presenting to you. It kind of seems a little bit like the guy in the trench coat off Times Square. It's like, hey, we got your cloud storage here, we got your computational storage, we got your IATA. Why IATA myself, right? The idea here is quite simple. We do an awful lot of very interesting and innovative work across SNIA, and there's very little opportunity to kind of collapse it into a survey of all one moment for people to be able to say, oh, I didn't know that SNIA was doing that, or oh, I would really like to find out more about that. This is the opportunity for for us to show our wares, as well as to allow you, the audience, and the members and the potential members to figure out if this is something you'd like to participate in. Now, SNIA, if you're not familiar, is broken down into roughly three different groups. Three different areas, I should say. One are the technical working groups. This is where the specifications are done. This is where the technical work is actually heads down, working on the bits and the bytes, as well as some of the interesting standards and specifications that are going on. The second group is the forums, initiatives, and committees. And that is the area where we do some of the environmental and ecosystem support.
Yeah, but it's just a thing on storage.
Did you see my comment about the part number?
Tim, are you asking me something?
I muted him, Jay.
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. So what the forums and the initiatives do is that they provide us with not just the ability to promote the work that SNIA is doing, but also educate the general population about some of the more foundational and fundamental aspects of storage. We have a very strict policy at SNIA that any material that we put forth is going to be vendor neutral and technology neutral. That is, specifically, we want to be able to provide end users with the understanding of the right tool for the right job. We don't allow, and we highly discourage any kind of product pitches. And even though that sometimes things do tend to fall through the cracks, by and large, the members and the volunteers of SNIA have been very good at remaining diligent about that neutrality. It's one of the things that we are most proud of, as a matter of fact. So the forums, initiatives, and the committees are all dedicated to providing that kind of educational and informational material so that people can make the best decisions that they have. And then last but not least, we're going to go into the leadership update and the membership awards for SNIA. Now, some of the volunteers spend dozens, if not hundreds of hours working on developing technologies, promoting the information and the education, and generally go above and beyond the call of duty, and they almost never get the recognition that they deserve. This is one of those moments where we try to rectify that. So I highly encourage you to help honor those people who have spent a great deal of time, effort, and energy to bring you the material that you're going to be observing today, but also behind the scenes. So please do attend the membership awards. And next slide, please. All right. So before we get started, I want to try to set the tone a little bit about what we're going to be doing for SNIA. All right. One of the things that comes up quite often is that there is, in the general milieu, for lack of a better way of putting it, a misunderstanding of what storage, and I put that in quotes, really means. For a lot of people, storage is capacity. Storage is the media. It's an SSD. It's a hard drive. It's the protocol, whether it be NVMe or Fiber Channel or iSCSI or something along those lines, right? And the reality is that storage is a system. It is a process. It is the ability to have the proper care and feeding of data. It is the manipulation of data, the movement of data, the protection of data, the security of data. All of these things are part of storage, and they're all very important. None of these things can exist without the other. And so SNIA is recognizing the fact that we have to focus on the breadth as well as the depth of the technologies, how they all relate together. Everything is related to everything else. In the last 5 or 6 years, we have seen the ability to put storage inside of networks, put processing inside of storage, put storage inside of processing, and processing in memory, processing with computational storage. All of these things are going to have drastic and profound ripples across the technological pond. SNIA's focus then can't be to do everything for everyone. On the contrary, what we can do is we can strengthen those relationships. We can strengthen the relationships between the technologies. One of the reasons why we want to be technology neutral. We want to strengthen the relationship between SNEA and its own members. One of the reasons why we're vendor neutral. We want to strengthen the relationship between the groups inside of SNEA, make sure that they're all working in nice synchronous harmony, because after all, nothing exists in isolation. And then, not last but not least, we're going to be focusing on the relationship between SNEA and other organizations. Obviously, SNEA can't do everything, and neither can anybody else. But together, we can do an awful lot of really wonderful things. So we're working with a lot of our established, well-defined alliances with organizations like Open Fabrics, like NVM Express, and others. I hate to mention certain things because you always leave somebody else, but hopefully you'll get my point. But we're also looking to extend those relationships. We're looking to build more profound relationships with other organizations that have either tight adjacencies or even some ancillary ones, right? There are some new organizations that are coming out that have some overlap with some of the interests, and those kinds of joint projects are going to be pretty interesting. So one of the things you're going to see today, and one of the challenges I'd like to give to you, is to start thinking about how this can be addressed. If you've got ideas, we want to hear them. We certainly don't want you just to be a sponge and absorb this. We do want to have some participation on your part. If you see something that we're missing, or if there's something that we haven't even thought of, nobody's perfect, by all means, please do speak up and let us know. The whole point of this is to create a dialogue between us, you, and others that may not necessarily even know what we're trying to do. So to that end, I'm going to go ahead and close out. My welcome introduction is now over. I'm going to open it up to some questions before handing it off to Michael Malidi. Any questions?